I'm back here just uploading a video. Today's topics. I have three topics I'm going to talk about. One, relationships, today's generation in sports. What I think about today's sports is that everything's changing. They're adding on a new policy, new regulation each time with the sport. And either it's basketball, it's either a new foul, like a new way to foul people or whatever. It's just changing, And what I think I'm mostly going to talk about basketball because that's the only sport I really like besides football. But what I think about football and what I think about basketball is that if you know how to shoot, if you know how to create plays, if you know how to pass, if you know how to shoot, if you know how to do anything on defense, if you know how to do anything on offense, you'll be a good player, defensively and offensively. But see, in football, you gotta pass it one time, you gotta gun it down the field. You gotta gun it down the field until you get a touchdown. Okay. Now, I'm still talking about the LeBron thing. Now, about LeBron, I think no matter where he goes, I think he's still championship bound. Because he has three championships in Miami, and took him the same amount of time that Jordan did to win a championship, 9 straight seasons to win his first championship. I think he'll be okay. No matter where he goes, whether it's Cleveland, Miami, anywhere out west, he'll be okay. Because he's championship material. I think he's championship material. And I also think that if he stays in Cleveland, he can help get a championship. And the amount of money they're going to pay the guy, $24.3 billion for a 3-year contract extension. I wouldn't pass that up. Who wouldn't? That's pretty much 82 games a fat ass paycheck. I wouldn't pass that up. Would you? No, I don't think you would. But yeah. And no matter where he goes, the money's always going to be there. So for him to pick it back up once he retires, So he's one of the most underpaid athletes in the NBA right now. And he's well deserving of a fat salary extension, and a contract extension. But now the relationship part. Now the other two videos I did, weren't really presentable, were not really respectful towards the women, and I really apologize for that. I know I'm still going on about it, but I'm just terribly apologizing for that. I didn't mean to offend any women about that. What I wanted to really put out with that was what I meant by that was, it's not all about that. What it's really about is commitment and love. If you ain't got the cojones to show that or to do that, then why the hell are you in a relationship in the first place? Or are you just for the love and lust, or are you just for the respect, love, and courtesy and courteousness? I'm in it personally for the respect and the courteousness, and to put my best foot forward for my lady. Because eventually we're going to turn into a family. It's just going to be me and her, and possibly some kids. But that's a long ways down the road. But if you think that you can change a relationship by doing one thing, go for it. Don't let anybody stop you. Do what you gotta do to get what you want in a relationship, and make sure it's presentable to both you and your girlfriend, or you and your wife, or you and your friends with benefits, Because having a girlfriend's a lot of work. I'd personally rather have friends with benefits, because it both benefits you and her, mostly you. But see, if you put your best foot forward, she'll give you something back in return. You know what I mean? Don't make it all about you. It's about both of y'all. Okay? But another thing I want to talk about is today's generation. All right. Compared to the last 25 years, I've noticed that today's generation of kids are a whole lot different to when I was like 15, 16, 13 years old, like even 9 years old. Like now you got 9-year-olds and like 6-year-olds smoking weed now, and their parents smoke with them. Now, what I think about that mostly is, like they should ban that stuff from having kids smoke that stuff. The legal smoking age is 18. Okay, legal smoking age is 18. Alright. And that's hazardous to the kid's health, because eventually when he gets like to 15, 16 years old, he's going to become violent, like he's going to become disoriented, he's going to become ornery, he's going to become more defiant. And speaking of defiance, I find it very timidly ironic that today's generation of kids are more defiant. They don't give a crap about what their mom and dad tells them to do. When you tell a kid to do something, 95% of the time they'll do the opposite. They won't do it. Especially when it comes to school. They get straight 6 straight Fs. They get 6 straight Fs. Within one semester, and then they fail the class, or they fail the semester. They have to repeat it the next year. Okay. Now, what I think about that is, it's not the parents, it's not the kids' fault. It's the parents' fault. The parents are not The parents are not doing enough to motivate the kids to do right in school. Because see, that's when the sports come in. See, both sports and education come in very well. If you ain't got the education to play the sport, if you ain't got the grades to play the sport, you don't need to be playing the sport. I know some kids are on that football team or basketball team or baseball team that had straight Fs throughout the whole entire season, of the sport, and they're still playing the sport. Now, what I think about that is, it's not just the parents, they need to discipline their kids on getting better grades in school. It's also the coaches, If you see a kid, if you look at that kid's report card and you see at least one C or D, they're still eligible to play. But if you see 6 straight Fs going down that list, would you want that kid to play? No, I wouldn't. If I was a coach, I'd say, you know what? I'll give you 6 straight weeks to bring up that grade before the season ends. If you don't bring it up by the third to last game, I'm benching you and I'm kicking you off the team. It's your responsibility to keep your grades up in order if you play a sport. And you spend all this time playing the sport and not worried about homework, not worried about midterms, exams, not worried about any tests. And see, if you pass those midterm exams, that puts you in eligibility to come back and play the sport your senior year. Because, And what I also think about today's generation of kids, they're just not, they're lazy, they're defiant, they're rude. They're more rude than when I was a kid. See, I'm 21 years old, I'll be 22 in about 3 weeks, in about 3.5 weeks. Okay, if I was rude like that, no, if I was like still 12 or 13 years old, and I still live with my mom. My mom's a great woman. She's a great lady. But see, besides all that, she raised me to the point where if I got in trouble at school, I get in trouble at home. See. If I talk back to a teacher, if I acted out in school, the teacher would notify my mom by calling her or emailing her, let her know that, hey, Marcus just did this in school today. What are you going to do? And she would tell him. She'd tell him straight up, he's not going to act like this anymore. If he keeps acting up like this, there's going to be consequences at home. And she followed through with them every time. And a lot of my friends' moms are the opposite. They will ground them for 3 weeks, and then like 3 days later, they'll be still outside playing outside. My mom told me, once I'm grounded, I'm staying inside. I'm staying inside. One time I'd stay inside for 6 straight months, because it was a repeated process. Each time I got in trouble at school, I got suspended a lot. So if I got suspended a lot, I'd be inside a lot. So that made my mom think that I was not ready to be outside with anybody else, because I didn't know how to act outside. If I acted right at home, but I didn't know how to act outside my house. So pretty much what she's saying was, if you're going to disrespect your family outside the home, you can show more respect by staying inside in order to get the respect back outside. So, but see, what I also think about today's generation of kids, I think that today, today's generation of kids, I think personally that today's generation of kids, need to be more disciplined. Don't need to be getting away with that much crap anymore. I think they need to be more hard hitting. I think the parents need to be more hard hitting on their kids and not letting them get away with this stuff in school, not letting them get away with this stuff at home, and they just do whatever the heck they want to do. They're not disciplined enough. But one more other thing, I think compared to when me and my friends that were their ages like 10 years ago, our generation now, our generation from 21 to 25, 20 to 25, would tear up those kids from 10 to 19 years old now. From 10 to 18. From 10 to 18. I think we would tear them up because, see, our parents would not let us do that stuff in school. They wouldn't. It wouldn't. It's unheard of. It's defiant. It's belligerent. It's absurd. It's out of this world. It's miraculously omnipotent. You know what I mean? Well, thank you guys for giving me this time. I know I went over 10 minutes by a minute and a half. But sorry, but I had to voice my opinion about something. Hey, if you see this on YouTube, like it. See this on Facebook, like it, comment about it. One of the latest videos I've done. I think it's great. Alright guys, thank you.